I understand that some people are just now getting used to the idea that these creatures that I call Neos are actually what you, in some way related to what you call T. And you also understand that it's not the same, but it's actually much superior material. And you also understand that this material is needed for the female titans in order to create their own T. But much more important than that, it is greatly beneficial for their health and well-being. This was all clear to me years ago, even before I've seen any of these creatures under the microscope. I understood it well, years ago. And my position on the matter is just is the same as it always have been. There is no higher perversion than to sell this material to Venusian females on Earth. Of course, this was done widely by the Israelis for a long, long time, mostly by taking it from me or from other males, but lately mostly for me, and giving us nothing in return outside of misery and torture. This is part of a great sin of the entire people of the earth. But fixing this kind of perversion will not be done by me selling directly those Neros to female Venusians, supposedly in a free market where they pay however I want, and if they agree to pay it. This is an unbelievable perversion, and it cannot even theoretically take place for all those sorts of reasons that I've spoken about in the past. I'm not saying these Neros could not be used for all sorts of commercial implication, especially indirectly, by me selling not them themselves, but selling things that they created. This can be done for certain. And also, I must add that probably all of you, like humans, Homo sapiens, you will probably be very disappointed if you will buy these creatures for me, even though I'm not selling them. But even if I would, you'll probably be very disappointed, because you will not be able to command them to do things in the same way that I do, because they are intelligent creatures. They will not do whatever. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. There is no way for me to promise you that they will be your loyal servants, because they are not my loyal servants. I have the privilege of communication with them. They are not my servants, and they will certainly will not be your servants. They will destroy you and terraform the earth to whatever things that they want before they will actually comply with all the demands. And you need to understand it. That's the way it is. So maybe I will use those creatures in my own industrial, efforts, and will sell the stuff to other people. But selling them as a commodity is something that I'm not going to do. Probably is impossible. The problem, it will not result in what you wanted in the results that you expect. This is as far as commercial applications. Of course, that selling it as a drug for Homo sapiens is completely out of the question. And I don't even need to elaborate on that. This is a huge perversion and a huge contributing factor to the Holocaust that takes place on Earth. But there is also the first thing that I've started with, so what do we do with the female Venusians that want it so much? And I already told you the answer, but not but it's kind of in an implicit way, during the last couple of videos. And I've told it too much, I've elaborated on it on other videos that mostly in Twitter and mostly in Hebrew. So maybe that's not you don't have the access to it. So I will say it very shortly. I don't have a solution to the problem of the existence of Venusian females in Earth. I don't. The main concern of my predecessor, and also it's a concern for me, is to stop the subjugation of whatever Venusians that exist on Venus. I don't know how many are there. Maybe very little. To stop their subjugation, to stop the slave trade, to stop the slave raids. That's my main concern. Regarding Venusians that live on Earth, I don't know what to. I can't supply you with answers. I don't know what will be their fate. and this should also, I mean, of course, they should to the highest extent, like, I mean, extent that is possible. They should be the one that, I mean, define their fate, as long as they do not torture and subjugate other people, as they are doing in Israel in the last generation, following the events that are, I mean, described in the bicycle, in the current, like, Bicycle 201 series. This is what, like, I mean, it's another saga that I live, like, because it's like, it's my own saga, which belongs to another generation, but relies to some extent on things that were done by my predecessor. Even though they said, if I were him, I would have done the same. It's not that he was wrong, but I mean, most of the problem is the relationship between Venus and Earth, not how to, like, to optimize the lives of the Venusian females that live on Earth. Maybe their life cannot be optimized. Maybe, I mean, they should live like human beings and, like, I mean, with, I mean, and just, like, I mean, human beings that don't have sex, because sex with Homo sapiens is problematic, and sex with the wizards is also problematic. Maybe, I mean, not everyone is having sex, you know, and who better than you knows it? Know it. I mean, you live all our life. I mean, these Venusians, like, in a circle in social circles that is full of pedophiles, and so they don't have sex. They're taking medicines and they don't have sex all their life. So I'm sorry about it. Like, but I mean, but maybe I don't have a solution to all of them. I don't have, and certainly the solution, any kind of solution, will not include me selling those Neos, like, not like as kind of like a drug or to commercial drug to a large amount of Venusian females. It's not going to happen. I've spoken about it in the past many times. This is a perversion of natural state of affairs. This is a perversion. The correct state of affairs was already outlined in these videos. The correct state of affairs is kind of a relationship that is either monogamous or polygamous, can be both, where the females are acting as knights, not K-N-I-G-H-T, like Sir Lancelot, Sir Gawain, Sir Galahad, but I mean, it's a saint version of them, because actually in the Arthurian legends, all of them are crazy. But this means that, I mean, of course they are having sex with King Arthur, but most of all and above all, they protect his life. And this is an amazing perversion that takes place in Israel, is that the females, not only they do not protect the life of the male, they are torturing him and trying to murder him. This kind of thing were inconceivable in Venus, unless it's part of, like, I mean, like an opponent's, like a group of king and knights, and they said assassinations are part of the life in Venus. But it's not the situation in Earth. There's not, like, I mean, they are not part of, like, a different group. Because in practice there is no different group, and there is only one king. But this king lives like as the king of the Jews. Like, he lives like he's scum of the earth. He lives like in a hostel and eats, like, from charity, and has no money at all, and he's been tortured for many years. So that's the type of king that, I mean, that he is. That's the king of Arthur in the Israeli context of today, and he's humiliated by every piece of shit, and I mean, and suffered from endless torture. I mean, this is inconceivable from the Venusian aspect, and it's also inconceivable from any kind of culture that has a little common sense. Only the Israelis support such culture because they are insane and irrational, and they are sinister, and they are in the hands of devil long ago. And they are hopeless and irredeemable. Following that, the consequences are very simple. And again, I've said it many times in the past, but I should say it again. But it's not new at all. But I've said it many times. I've said it again. These Neos, these nanobots, the best way, and from my perspective, unless there is like severe circumstances or very, you know, I don't want to be too strict, because there are always exceptions to any rule, but as a rule that applies on Venus, and I don't see why it should not be applied on Earth, the way to transfer those Neos between a man and woman is bisexual act, by having sex. And yes, I know how to have sex, and I've done it quite a bit in the past with women, both Titans and Homo sapiens women. And yes, in the last 4 years, I lived the life of a monk because I was forced to do it, but I assure you I remember how to have sex, okay? I have no problem having sex with females. If it weren't dangerous, like it is because I live in hell. So this is the preferred way. Does it mean that I'm going to have sex with all the, I don't know how many female evolutions on Earth? No, of course not. Maybe only with one. I don't know. Or maybe with more than one, but not much more than one. But those females, there's going to be like a list of of course they will need to want it. I mean, if they don't want it, whatever, do whatever you want. But in case they want it, they should understand that there is like a list of requirements that is needed from them. And the first one is that they need to protect my life. It's inconceivable that they will sit somewhere in the United States or in Russia and think that I'm going to send them the robots by mail while I live inside a cruel jail and tormented by the most disgusting animals that ever lived on the face of the earth. This is inconceivable by Venusian standards. It's inconceivable by any rational understanding of any culture at all, and of course inconceivable by the eyes of gods, and inconceivable in the eyes of nature. The first item in the list of such women that presumably could be my sexual partners would be that they need to run, not to walk, to run to Israel and to get me out of here. And if they can't do it, they need to use all their efforts and 100% of their time and efforts to find a way to do it. And if they don't want to put their effort in it, fine. I mean, live your life whatever you want it. Okay, live your life however you want it. You live your life, I will live your life. We never need to speak again. And of course, this will probably be the relationship between me and 99.99% of all Venusians on Earth. No connection at all, and no relation at all. But certainly, I'm not going to sell it. Because the correct way to transfer between male and woman is bisexual relationship. But you don't just fuck around. You do it with females that you think that of them as worthy to be your wife. And of course, they also have the choice. They are more powerful than men. They have more choice actually, because they cannot it cannot be forced on them. Even theoretically, cannot be, because they are the strong side. But if they wanted, they need to understand that, such things, comes with a list of duties that are expected from them. And the first one is to protect the life of the king. The first one, above all. It's inconceivable, that I will sit in a jail surrounded by monsters, and you will live your life abroad, in wherever, and will expect me to send it by mail to you in exchange for money that I will not get, but the Israelis will get. This is so stupid and inconceivable. If you are interested in such a relationship, and you might not be, fine. Okay, do whatever you want. But if you think as yourself as that you want to have a relationship with me, you want to have sex with me, you want to have children with me, you want to live with me, it's almost obvious that the first thing you need to do is to protect my life, to get me out of hell.